Chapter 1: Awakening in Shadows. A shroud of twilight hung heavy in the air, whispers of secrets woven into the breeze that snaked through the trees. In the corner of the vast forest that bordered the kingdom of Avalorn, where light and shadow danced in an eternity of twilight, a figure stirred among the ancient oaks. Blossoms cascaded like gentle rain, illuminating the dark underbrush with their fleeting glow. This was no ordinary forest. It was a sanctuary of spirits, a realm suspended between life and death where the untold stories of countless souls lingered. The figure began to take shape, woven from the very shadows that cradled him. He was neither flesh nor fully spirit, existing in a space of possibility and memory. In the void, he could hear the echoes of his former life. A name floated to the surface of his awareness: Lorien. The weight of his last moments in the mortal realm pressed against him, pulling him back, but he resisted. This was an awakening, not an ending. As consciousness wrapped around him like a comforting cloak, Lorien's senses sharpened. He could perceive the rhythmic pulse of the forest, its whispers calling him forth. They spoke of a young king poised on the edge of destiny, filled with potential yet fraught with peril. A responsibility, unthinkable in his previous life, settled upon his spectral shoulders. He was to be the guardian, a shadow, to guide the young monarch of Avalorn toward peace amidst the tempest of war that loomed on the horizon. With barely a thought, he drifted through the woodland. The trees bowed as if acknowledging his presence, their branches flowing like the fingers of an unseen hand. Lorien felt the pull of magic, ancient and arcane, surging through him. The essence of the forest infused him with purpose. He had no physical form, yet his spirit connected to the very marrow of the land. Every beat of his non-existent heart echoed with the cries of the people who dwelled beyond the trees, yearning for guidance. He reached a clearing, illuminated by silvery rays of moonlight filtering through the branches. Here, time seemed to stand still. In the center lay a tranquil pond, its surface as smooth as glass, reflecting the constellations above. He approached, leaning over the water as if to look into its depths. Images coalesced, visions of a young boy with golden hair, wearing a crown that seemed too heavy for his small head. The boy's laughter rang out like chimes, pure and innocent, but shadows loomed at the periphery of his joy. "I am but a shadow," Lorien murmured, a sensation of weights upon his shoulders. And yet, the echo of his own voice awoke something deeper within him, a fire that flickered with conviction. His purpose was not to linger on the fringes of existence, but to weave through the lives of those shaped by their fears and desires. He had been given a second chance, perhaps even granted forgiveness for sins that had haunted his mortal life. But more than that, he was a protector now, a subtle guide to the future king. As Lorien focused on the boy again, a surge of determination coursed through him. He could see glimpses of sorrow flickering behind the boy's bright eyes, hints of the storms to come stretching outward like jagged cracks in the earth. "Caius," he whispered, the name settling into his essence. "You are my charge." An image danced at the edge of his mind, a beautiful castle perched above a cliff, gracing the horizon. Oranchar, capital of Avalorn, gleamed like a jewel, with its turrets piercing new. With a gentle breeze, he felt the whisper of fate shifting under his touch. Shadows coiled around him, guiding his journey as he slipped through the boundaries of the physical into the waking world of mortals. The castle loomed closer, its stones wrapped in the tired sighs of history. Lorien floated over the ancient walls, seeing the kingdom's crest, a silver hawk soaring against a backdrop of royal blue. Inside, the corridors buzzed with life. Inevitably, his spirit was drawn to the royal chamber, a sanctum swathed in warmth, yet brewing with tension. Caius was nestled within, surrounded by opulence that felt foreign to his youthful essence. Lorien could see the flicker of a candle illuminating the boy's brow as he scribbled furiously on parchment, letters crafted with a mix of elegance and haste. There was hope in his eyes, a glimmer of responsibility illuminating that youthful face. "Letters again," murmured an elderly figure, a court advisor whose name escaped Lorien. "And what do you aim to accomplish, my king?" Caius looked up, frustration painting his delicate features. "I must communicate with the leaders of neighboring regions. There must be peace if we are to stop the impending war." Lorien resonated with the boy's earnestness and felt a tug to intervene. But how? As an invisible guardian, his powers were tied to suggestion, subtle cues that could steer the boy toward wisdom without revealing his presence. "You are a child among giants," the advisor continued, his tone patronizing. "Your youthful ideals are admirable but naive. War is in our blood. Negotiation often costs more than strength." Lorien could feel the storm brewing in Caius, the potential fury of the young king battling against the currents of uncertainty. Determined, he focused his presence. "No," Lorien willed, though the thought projected into the silence. "You must listen to your heart, young king. It is not yet time to surrender to the shadows of war." The words brushed against Caius's consciousness, gentle and unyielding as the dawn. The boy paused, brow furrowing, a flicker of clarity sparking in those stormy eyes. "But what if I am wrong?" Lorien surged forth with conviction. "True power rests not in domination, but in the courage to seek peace. Trust your instincts, trust your heart." The candlelight flickered, illuminating the room in a soft glow, and for a moment, Lorien felt the weight of his guidance take root. Caius's expression transformed as the tumult within him found resolution. "If I am to be king, I must lead with strength and compassion. I will send my letters." The advisor's brows knitted in confusion, and Lorien sensed skepticism as his influence wove deeper into the fabric of the moment. "Such ideas," the advisor scoffed gently, "may lead you astray." "Or bring us to clarity," Caius countered with newfound ferocity, grounding his resolve. His voice rose like a clarion call, carrying both innocence and authority. "I will not stand idly by while our people suffer." Lorien reveled in the shift, recognizing the first threads of power weaving into the boy who would become a king. This was merely the beginning, a gentle push toward claiming destiny, yet Lorien felt a fresh wave of urgency flooding through the very essence of his being. Beyond the walls of Oranchar, a storm gathered, driven by forces unseen. The wheel of fate spun swiftly, and Lorien could sense the adversarial shadows creeping closer, a darkness that could easily consume the kingdom. All that lay before them would demand mutual trust, the bond between an invisible guardian and a king learning to wield his authority against the winds of change. This was merely the first whisper of the long road ahead, where shadows would play their part, and the battle for peace would unfold. Lorien felt the shadows tighten around him as he prepared for the challenges ahead, knowing that every decision would ripple into the larger tapestry of Avalorn's fate. The invisible guardian had awakened, destined to carve a path through the darkness, and thus the journey began.